Hey guys, I'm unable to get into Blackboard today, so I have created this presentation for you to help you get a little bit out of today so it's not a complete wash. So welcome. Today is Monday, March 5th, and we are on our third day of talking about Modernist Poetry, Unit 7. And today we are going to read some selections from the Spoon River Anthology. On Friday, we read the poem Chicago, and we completed an exit ticket, which is in the course, if you didn't get to that. So our essential question of today is, how does the Spoon River Anthology, the set of poems that we're going to be reading, portray small-town American life in the Midwest during the 20th century, the early 20th century, and how is this a modernist perspective? So we're looking at how the poems show life in small-town America and how it's a very modernist way of looking at small-town life. Let's start with a review question here. Sandburg uses this literary element when describing Chicago in the poem Chicago. Is it A, hyperbole, B, symbolism, or C, personification? Take a moment, think about that. I know you can't really use your polling tools, but think about it in your head, perhaps. All right, the correct answer here is C, personification. He makes Chicago almost seem like a living, breathing thing. So the poems that we're going to be reading today come from something called the Spoon River Anthology by a writer named Edgar Lee Masters. The Spoon River Anthology was written in 1915 by Edgar Lee Masters. They're a collection of short free verse poems that narrate the epitaphs of the residents of Spoon River, which is a fictional small town named after the real Spoon River that ran near Masters' hometown in Peoria, Illinois. An epitaph is written on the gravestone of somebody, usually tells you something about that person and their life. The aim of these poems in Spoon River Anthology was to shed light on rural small-town American life. This collection of poems is pretty neat. There's really nothing else quite like it. It includes 212 separate characters. He created 212 characters, all providing 244 accounts of their lives and their losses and the manner of their death. People really liked these poems. It was kind of like the Hunger Games or Harry Potter of its time. Not only did the people love it, but the critics loved this book also, loved this set of poems. Now, Spoon River Anthology was inspired by his childhood in Illinois, but it wasn't written from his perspective. Instead, it was written from the perspective of dead people buried in an Illinois graveyard. And this kind of weird, slightly morbid slant on small-town American life and Midwestern values really captured the public's imagination. People were pretty obsessed with this piece of literature. It was very, very popular. So take a look here. I have this opening poem called The Hill. This is the first part of Spoon River Anthology. It says, "Where are Elmer, Herman, Bert, Tom, and Charlie? The weak of will, the strong of arm, the clown, the boozer, the fighter, all are sleeping on the hill. One passed in a fever, one was burned in a mine, one was killed in a brawl, one died in jail, one fell from a bridge toiling for children and wife. All are sleeping on the hill. Where are Ella, Kate, Mag, Lizzie, and Edith, the tender heart, the simple soul, the loud, the proud, the happy one? All are sleeping on the hill. One died in shameful childbirth, one of a thwarted love, one at the hands of a brute in a brothel, one of a broken pride in the search for heart's desire, one after life in faraway London and Paris, was brought to her little space by Ella and Kate and Mag. All are sleeping on the hill. Where are Uncle Isaac and Aunt Emily, and old Towny Kincaid and Savinia Houghton, and Major Walker, who had talked with venerable men of the Revolution? All are sleeping on the hill." So that's the opening poem of the Spoon River Anthology called The Hill. And our question is, how do you think life will be portrayed in this small town? Think about the people that are mentioned here, the men and the women, and sort of the subject matter that is here. If you notice, it's pretty honest. You have things that people didn't necessarily always talk about back in this time period. I think that's also why this was so popular at the time. You've got someone dying in jail, people dying fighting each other, somebody having a shameful childbirth. Does that mean they had like a child out of wedlock? A woman dying by brute in a brothel. A brothel is like a prostitution house. So you've got all these people, and this is like real honest, real life. And perhaps that's how this set of poems is going to be portrayed. No holds barred. Okay. So today what I'd like you to do is to log into PlayPosit and find the Spoon River Anthology. It looks just like this, 3.5 Spoon River Anthology. The objective, again, is for students to read and analyze experts from Master Spoon River Anthology as an example of modernism and as a scathing portrait of Midwestern values. So get yourself logged in to PlayPosit. I will include username and password reminder in the link in this email here. And that's what we're going to be doing today. Complete the Spoon River Anthology PlayPosit, and then hopefully everything will be back working tomorrow. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns.